Whoa. Hello there. Greetings. I am Monster D. I was just touching up a little drawing of mine. Do you enjoy having picnics and meals outside? Do you like to go camping? Do you like to sit at those big wooden benches and enjoy a nice summer meal? Maybe something off of the grill or a fresh salad or something? Well, whenever you are out there, do you ever come across a strange, perhaps unwelcome encounter? You're in the middle of eating, enjoying your friends and your food, and all of a sudden, a bee buzzes in. Oh no! What do you do? What do you do? What is the bee going to do? Or is it a bee at all? Are you actually being scared by a false marauder? Well, let me share something with you today. Look at these. What do you see here? Do you see 4 bees? They all look the same to you? Well, here's a little secret. Sometimes what you might see at those picnics could be a bee, but other times it actually might be a type of fly. How would you know the difference? Well, here we have a bee, a honeybee. And here I have drawn a picture of what they call a bee fly. Now, why is the bee fly a bee fly? Well, think about this. Why does the approaching bee terrify you so much? It's because you're worried it's going to sting you, right? Let's see here. You do not want that sting on you, right? Ouch! So whenever people see bees coming, usually they start sweating and getting shortness in breath and perhaps jumping out of the way, maybe even screaming a little. Whoa! So that is a perfect thing for a harmless, non-stinging fly to disguise itself as. Because the fly is more interested in your food, probably even more interested in the average bee. So he goes, "Oh yeah, that's me. I'm the big, bad, scary bee. Don't you swat at me." By the way, are those chips on your plate? But how do you tell the difference between the two? Is the difference drastic? Well, I'll point out a few differences. First of all, with a bee, you notice the antennae are a little bit longer. They look like normal antennae. I mean, whenever you think of an insect, you think of antennae. This is sort of what you picture, huh? Not super long, but long enough, prominent enough. On a fly, fly's antennae are almost not even noticeable. I always think that a fly's antennae resemble almost like little mustaches. They're very tiny compared to the bee. Conversely, the bee's eyes, while big for the size of the body, are not that big. When you see a bee's eyes from the side or the front, they have this nice sort of gentle, sort of oval shape to them. See that? Now a fly has the big, big eyes. A fly's head is almost entirely eye. Now if you saw those eyes from a front view, that's from the top. Fly's eyes are going to be more like just a whole lot bigger, and often they'll be touching one another. And if you notice, flies, I believe, actually tend to have a little bit easier time dodging your attacks than even the bees do, because they have such big eyes to see so very, very well. So that's first, and that really is, for me, is the big key, is the head. The bee will always have the smaller eyes and the longer antennae, and the fly will always have the enormous eyes with a little mustache antenna. Now, there are other differences that you probably will not get to see. A fly has 2 wings, 1 pair of wings. A bee, all bees, actually have 4 wings, 2 pairs of wings. Now, of course, when they're buzzing about, buzzing over your plate, you're probably not going to be able to really tell, because in both cases, their wings are so fast, that's just hard to see. Unless you get fortunate enough for one to land calmly long enough on your birthday cake, and you go, oh, 1, 2 wings, it's a fly. You're probably not going to do that. Now, I also included, well, just another kind of a bee fly. There are actually many, many different flies that take on patterns resembling bees, but I also included this guy, which is probably more likely for you to see than something like a honeybee. You know, it's a wasp. You know, sometimes they call them yellow jackets. They have many names, but a wasp and a bee are in a lot of ways very similar. The wasp has the longer antennae, the prominent yet still smaller eyes, and yes, wasps, like bees, do sting. Wasps, hornets, the whole lot. But flies of any kind, no matter what their shape, you always look at that head. They have the big, 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 big eyes and a little mustache antenna. Now, these flies seem to have longer wings than even the normal housefly or something like that. Perhaps that's to help aid in their wings looking even more like the double wings when they're in motion. I cannot be certain of that. But yeah, no matter how fast they are, they both have this sort of hovering thing. And when they do that sort of hover, usually for me, it's pretty quick. I look at their face and go, oh, great big gigantic eyes, tiny little antenna, it's a fly, it's harmless. You know, or I see the more ovular eyes, the ovular eyes, and the longer antenna, and I go, oh, that's a bee, oh, that's a wasp. Oh, be careful. But here's a question. If it is a bee, or a wasp, or a fly, should you behave any differently for one or the other? My recommendation, regardless of what any of these are, especially if you come after this going, yeah, all of that information is great, Monster D, but I still really can't tell them apart. Well, that's fine. I have a simple recommendation. Stay calm and move slowly. If you do not know what it is, and if it's hovering a little too close for comfort, just stay still. The whole flapping and flailing around and screaming, and of course smacking it, that is more likely to get you stung if it is one of these fellows. But if you're calm, if you're slow, there's a very good chance that it's not even going to realize you're there. It's not after you. They're after food, or they detect a scent or something else other than you. Okay? Think about a praying mantis. How does a praying mantis catch its food? It starts out very, very slow, right? Until it gets very close enough to grab the creature. A praying mantis would have no success if a praying mantis walked up to a bee and went, "Rah!" and was flailing all around and screaming. Right? So, bees, bee flies, wasps, and more bee flies. So perhaps there is a chance yet that your picnic is a little safer than you thought. Flies aren't looking so bad now, are they? Well, I hope you enjoyed this little thing that Monster D knows, and won't you please stay monstrous?